at Old Trafford. Well, it's been full time for a little while now, but it ended Manchester United 3, Aston Villa 1. Casemiro opening the deadlock straight after half time. Aston Villa have the joint best record from set pieces in terms of conceding set pieces. They've only conceded one coming into this game, but Manchester United have been doing well on set pieces, and it was always going to be a brilliant battle. We finally opened the deadlock, and who else but Casemiro? That man has been really important. 6 goals from set pieces this season. How do we replace that, guys? You know, from midfield, he's a number 6, right? So he's a player technically in a defensive position, and he's contributed so much to not just goals, but assists, but more essentially crucial interceptions, right? Crucial goals, opening the deadlock. This match was going nowhere without his goal. And it's only after Casemiro scored that Unai Emery gave Aston Villa the license to come and attack. And they scored from Berkeley, which is rather disappointing really from a Man United perspective, because I think we were defending well. Maguire, Euro, first half, we defended well. We just got caught napping. And it was coming. Their goal was coming. As soon as we scored, we gave away the ball cheaply, and they had 2 or 3 chances. They scored one. Inevitable. But I thought United were the better team, and duly deserved to be in front. Matheus Cunha came in with those celebrations once again. Brilliant goal from Matheus Cunha. And then Benjamin Sesko rounded things off. I said it at half time, right? It was only a 90-second video that I did, but I said it in the half time. Carrick has to change and bring on Sesko. He did that. It was clear as day. The players are now finding that extra bit of yard, putting in the crosses. It's still not 100%, because in the second half we could have put in the crosses so much earlier, and we didn't. We lost a few chances. And listen, we can't also be a one-dimensional team and just pump crosses all the time. We'll be very predictable. But I do think the issue we had with crosses is that we were hesitant. We took that extra 5-10 seconds to think, to deliberate, to dwell over the ball, and of course then the chance is gone. If we hit it first time, we cross it first time, we've got much the better chance of scoring. So we've done it in this game, and it was calling for Benjamin Sesko. He came into the fore, but it's not a headed goal that he got. He was in the box, got a ricochet, ended up scoring our third, a very crucial goal, because that essentially cemented our win. It gave a chance for the boys to relax and play a bit of football. So good win at Old Trafford against Aston Villa. That puts us way ahead of Villa. We were tied on same number of points with them, so that puts us ahead now, and it just leaves them fighting for that 4th and 5th position. I do think that the Premier League's going to send 5 teams to the Champions League, so without necessarily being cocky or just arrogant or resting on laurels, I do think Man United have already got a place in the Champions League for next season. Now it's just about pushing for that 2nd place. I do think we can get it. Manchester City dropped points this week. They dropped points last week. We lost last week, shockingly, to a team that had 10 men. I'm glad, by the way, that Aston Villa didn't get a player sent off. For once, we are winning against a team. About time that we won against a team who did not have a man sent off. A good team, so that was good to see. And yeah, I think Manchester City are there for the taking, guys. I don't think they'll progress very far in the Champions League. They're not going to be there in the Premier League. Arsenal managed to find something yesterday, were resourceful, and in the end won their game 2-0 against Everton, courtesy of Amzaum being the youngest ever player to score in the Premier League. What a player, by the way. He only scored in an empty net, but what a player, what a goal. And he's definitely one to watch. I've followed Arsenal a little bit during this pre-season, and he was pulling up trees. Amzaum was. I don't know why it's taken them so long to play him, but anyway, they're coming into a bit of form. Arsenal 9 points ahead of Manchester City, got some daylight. So now City are closer to third place United than they are to Arsenal. They've got to start watching their own backs, and I think this will be a good challenge for Michael Carrick and Manchester United. It's a coup. It's about time. When's the last time that Man United finished ahead of Manchester City? A long time, right? So this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a target for us. I think we should go for it. And yeah, I think we've got every chance to make that happen. So yeah, well done to United, well done to Michael Carrick, well done on today's game. And roll on next weekend. I don't know yet who we have. I've not checked it. It's been a really busy weekend, but we've got a nice gap between the games, guys. Whoever Manchester United have, we should have enough time to prepare. We should have time to rest, because one thing which was clear as day, clear for me and hopefully you all to see, is how tenacious we were in midfield, how combative we were in midfield. That's what won us the game. So Casemiro, for me, won. You know, he didn't just come up trumps with the goal, but he was also first for every goal. And he's a player in his approaching mid-30s now. I think it's like 34. He can't do it necessarily every 3-4 days. For sure he can't. But in this case, he had 2 weeks rest, pretty much. And he showed his quality. So next season, this is not going to be the case. We can't afford to be going out of the cups this early. We're going to be in Europe, and we're going to have to push Arsenal for the Premier League. So things have got to change. Let's take a moment and talk about Michael Carrick. A lot of people are saying Michael Carrick's got to get the job. Look, I don't mind. I'm not going to throw my choice out of the pram if Michael Carrick gets the job. However, for me, it is not showing ambition. Michael Carrick has never won a league. Michael Carrick has not done anything too great in his managerial career to deserve a shot at the greatest club in the country. He doesn't. But has it been done before? Pep Guardiola walked into the Barcelona job and pulled up trees. Zinedine Zidane did so for Real Madrid. So it can be done. But I'd like us to really think about it. I'd like us to evaluate the other coaches, the other names, and not just offer it to Michael Carrick. And I'd love for Michael Carrick to push on more than just get Champions League football. For those of you who know, who've seen, who've followed me, I had a bet on Manchester United winning the league this season. I know a lot of you would probably say that's preposterous, but I genuinely think that the Premier League didn't have the quality that it has had in the past, and it was there for the taking. We, Manchester United, if we didn't falter in such glaring fashions against teams who we should absolutely beat in games that we are a man up, then we would have been way closer. So I don't think that bet was ludicrous. Having said that, even if we don't get the Premier League, we've got to be there or thereabouts, and I think we've got to keep pushing. Arsenal are fighting on all fronts. Things can still turn around, guys. It took 89 minutes for them to break the deadlock. 89 minutes. That match could have easily been a 0-0. Just like Manchester City, they ended up drawing. So it's all to play for. I still think United have got to push everything. That's all we've got to play for. So our next target has got to be that second position. That in itself will be a coup. And if Arsenal falter, let's put some pressure on them. So that's United in the Premier League. Let's go into the player ratings. I'm going to rush a little bit. It's Mother's Day. Wish you all a very happy Mother's Day, by the way. Let's get into the player ratings. Sané Lamens. Look, this player is just being Mr. Consistent, and I love it. It's a shame today he didn't get another clean sheet. He was playing against Martinez, who, by the way, I thought had a good game. He made a few saves. Made a couple of saves from Ahmad, by the way. Martinez did. But Sané Lamens stood his own. And I, for one, I'm very happy that we went for Sané Lamens instead of Martinez, even though I really like Martinez. World Cup winner. Appreciate him. Great player. But he's a little bit too eccentric for me for a goalkeeper, for Manchester United goalkeeper. Having said that, he could be somewhat of a Schmeichel. But Sané Lamens follows in the footsteps of Edwin van der Sar, follows in the footsteps of David De Gea. And those are super, super cool, calm, collected goalkeepers. What a player we have, and he's got his entire life career with us. Very level-headed, speaks really well, is dominating his box now, starting to play against all sorts of oppositions who are peppering the box. People like players, teams like Everton, teams like Manchester City who play around and is staying focused, teams like Liverpool, Aston Villa. Those are all very, very good teams, and he's coming up trumps. He's not faltering. Yeah, there are a few mistakes here and there, but he's growing. So Sané Lamens, for me, for this match, it gets a 7. It's kept us out. It didn't have too much to do. It's a little bit of a generous one. Probably 6.5 would have been better. But hey, we won this game. He's been brilliant. He stood up to his counterpart, Martinez, over there. I think he deserves that extra bit of credit. Dalot, I thought it was a decent game from him. He's put in a few crosses, starting to cross his first time. There's a chance from Dalot that a brilliant Man United play, and Dalot found himself pretty much one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Plays it onto his left and blazed it over. Didn't have the composure, but I'm glad that Dalot is working his ways, finding those positions, and if he shows a little bit more composure, finishing capabilities, finishing ability, he can be a player for us. Lenny Yoro, I thought he had a very good game. He's come into some criticism, for me unfair criticism. He's a beautiful player, Lenny Yoro, can be a Rolls Royce of a player. It's a bit tricky because he's played with everyone. Lenny Yoro, he's played with Aiden Heaven, he's played with De Ligt, Martinez, now Maguire, and he's looked calm, collected. He doesn't like to be turned, and sometimes our formation, especially with Amarim, exposed him a little bit, because he's a fast player, but that turn of place from wingers, the fastest players in the Premier League, guys, are left wingers from the opposition. And too often, Leny Yoro has been exposed to them as a right centre back with Dalot nowhere to be seen. So I'm glad that now Dalot is starting to build some confidence in the back four. Whoever we get as a manager has to end up playing in the back four. I don't think that formation you can really play at Old Trafford. And no, Leny Yoro is obviously starting those attacks, but today he got his head on a lot of balls. He was there up there with Maguire, defending the box, being aggressive, being on the front foot. I appreciated him. 7.5. Maguire, not too dissimilar to Leny Yoro, and I think, you know, they did well between the pair of them. Again, a shame that we conceded that goal. What is good about Maguire is that aerial presence, even in the opposition box. That's something that you know, increases United's potency in the set pieces, and I think even Casemiro benefits from that, because Maguire is towering, 6'2", 6'3". Yeah, he takes away their biggest markers essentially. So he's got to get a bit of credit from that. You know, for me, Maguire a 7 out of 10, and Luke Shaw. Look, Luke Shaw started his 30th game for Manchester United today. That's the most that he's ever had in a season. But I don't think this is his best season, not by a long shot. Luke Shaw has got to do what, in a weird way, Dalot has done, which is to find his streams, find the areas which he's really good at, and just stick to it. It's not been helped that we can consistently chop and change who plays left wing, and constantly chop and change who is in front of Luke Shaw. But he's got to adapt to that. He's a very experienced player, senior player. I think he will play. He will go to the World Cup. I hope he starts for Tuchel, because on his day, Luke Shaw is still one of the best out there on the left. He has just got to find. I don't think he's got, you know, that explosive nature that he had before. Or maybe he does, but he's saving it, because he's always, you know, one bad tackle away, one sprint away from an injury. And I think Luke Shaw is holding himself for the World Cup, for England. And look, he doesn't have to go full power. He doesn't have to be full pelt. If he can manage it enough and do a job for us, I'll be happy. So Luke Shaw today for me was a 7 out of 10. I was happy enough with his performance. He was crossing when needed, he was overlapping when needed, but I don't think he was full pelt, and it's probably right to not go at it 100%. Now we get into the midfield, and I do have some praise for the midfield, because Casemiro, what a performance, one of the contenders for man of the match for me. That goal alone gets an extra point. He was first to every tackle. United's midfield dominated Aston Villa's midfield, and that's where in the end we won this match. So for me, Casemiro gets an 8. Kobbie Mainoo. Now, it's a little bit of a weird one for me, Kobbie Mainoo, because on an attacking sense, he did some brilliant, intricate play, showed us a clean pair of heels on a few occasions, but he is very side to side. For a number 8, and for a player who should be as physical as he is, he's a great build. He passes and gets rid of the ball far too much for me. And it reminds me a bit of McTominay, because they've got all the attributes, but somehow they don't dominate the ball. They don't dominate the midfield like, say, a Brian Robson or Roy Keane. And I know those are names, those are legends of the game. But McTominay, for example, fit as a fiddle, 8-pack, 6'2", right? He kept getting skipped, didn't have a good defensive duty, and we got rid of him because we kept insisting on playing him as a number 6. Mainoo is being played as a number 8. So why is he not demonstrating more of a complete midfielder presence? I don't know. And for me, that's an issue, because he's definitely not disciplined enough to be a number 6. He can't dispose Bruno as a number 10, for sure he can't. So number 8 is where he's at, but for me, he's got to do more. I'll give him a 7 for today. I thought he was a little bit better in an attacking sense, but too much side to side. He's got to take ownership of the ball. He's got to look after the ball better. He's got to circulate the ball, look forward, pass forward. So I expect more from Kobe Mainoo. Bruno Fernandes. Look, Bruno does Bruno things. We're living in his world at the moment, because the numbers that he's pulling up is ridiculous. He got 2 assists yet again. What a player. Didn't have his best game. You know, it's not the first time we're seeing this, but moments. He's on set pieces at the moment. He's playing brilliant. He's got a brilliant understanding with the likes of Maguire, Casemiro, Šeško even. That can get better, by the way. But we've got to keep Bruno, man. We've got to keep Bruno. Prior to this season, I said he's got to improve massively on his set-piece delivery. And for me, Bruno's had a fairly normal season, has had a normal Bruno season. But it's been better because of that improvement that he's demonstrated on his set-piece delivery. Simple as. That on its own has added about at least 10 assists more for me, right? 10 assists more. I'll have to check, but I think Bruno's delivered roughly around 10 goals, 10 assists or goals, let's put it that way, from set pieces, which in the past he just would not get. No way was Bruno just as efficient, as good on set pieces. And now we get into the forward line. Amad, let's start with him. It was good to see him back. That was good for his confidence. He's playing a lot more under, more attacking, obviously, under Carrick. But Amad was all right today, but he didn't finish. He doesn't finish as well. He's got to improve that. He's found himself in front of goal a number of times. So well done to him for getting there, but then not finishing, right? He could do with another couple of goals in the next few games, I think, in my opinion, Amad. But other than that, he was aggressive, was combative. He added to the midfield. That's another reason, by the way. Amad, you know, he's slender, but he's combative. He does win the ball quickly. So I'll give him a 7 as well. Matheus Cunha. What a player. Should have been an assist. That was the best cross of the game, came from his side, from the left, on his left foot. Such a shame that Amad didn't get his head on it. It was to be fair to Amad, it was a little bit ahead of him, and he's not tall enough. But what a ball. Was begging to be hit, to be headed, to be touched into goal. Had the whip, had the power. Was right into that corridor of uncertainty. So Cunha was showing intent there, and then he got himself on the score sheet. brilliant player for us. I think he had one of his better games. I'll give him an 8. And then Mbeumo had one of his quieter games. I still think he is better coming in from the left, where Ahmad was today. It's a bit unfair to only drop Ahmad, so it might be worth dropping Mbeumo next time. Look, he's still very, very potent, but he's not a number 9. He does a job there, he's not a number 9. And for me, if he plays from the left, he can get back into the goals. So for me, a little bit of a miss for me, Mbeumo. I'm going to give him a 6.5. Šeško came on, different fare. He provides that focal point in United's attack, that presence. Guys, like, we just have not been playing to his strength. That 6.5 feet frame is not to be taken lightly. No defender wants that. He's not just an oaf, right? He's not just a big guy. He jumps like Cristiano Ronaldo. He jumps like a basketball player. He heads like Cristiano Ronaldo. And he sprints like any forward in the world. Right? He can, for me, he's the closest thing to Erling Haaland that we've seen in the Premier League. It's the closest. But I think he holds play even better than Haaland. So those are big words, and I'm not trying to say that he's better than Haaland, but he's got the potential to be better than Haaland. He's got the potential to be anything he wants. That's this guy. It's just about how strong his mentality is. The times where I didn't like him was just before his injury. He was clearly carrying a knock, and then he got injured. That was the time where I felt he'd down tools. But after the injury, he's come back stronger. He's determined, and I'm super happy for him that he's got his name on the score sheet, because he deserves it. We need that. We need our number 9 to be brimming with confidence, to be playing. And in an ideal world, look, he starts every game. That's how good he is. He's complete. So for me, he gets an 8 as well. We've had 3 players get an 8. Can't remember the other substitutes, but nothing too consequential. We've had 3 players on an 8, but my man of the match will go to Casemiro. In fact, I'll change that from an 8 to an 8.5, because Casemiro gave the complete performance, was really good defensively, broke up play, was a perfect midfielder, and then contributed with a goal. That understanding with Bruno Fernandes is not to be underestimated, and he got the most important goal because he broke the deadlock. So Casemiro is my man of the match, and now we go into Michael Carrick. I'll give Michael Carrick a 7.5. Look, he tweaked it. I did not approve of him dropping Benjamin Šeško, but he wanted to get Ahmad in, and we played well enough, guys. We played well enough. But what I liked about Carrick is, look, if it ain't working, change it. And he soon brought Šeško on. That worked. We broke the deadlock. I don't think he could have done much more. So 7.5 for Carrick. The referee did all right. As far as referees go, he gets an 8. And the fans, I thought the fans were pretty good. I felt them cheering on United quite loudly the first half, which, look, from our recent performances, I wouldn't have blamed the fans if they're even down tools. So fans get an 8.5. So performance all round, and now it's Liverpool playing Liverpool Spurs. That's another big match. We'll be following that later on. But take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Mother's Day. and come on United, super happy and chuffed for this result. Take care, and until the next time, bye bye.